newly acquired Giants tight end Darren Waller is the perfect weapon for Daniel Jones and the missing piece to this offense despite not having a number one receiver. Here's why. What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video. Today we're going to be focusing on Darren Waller. The Giants just traded for him with the 100th overall pick in this year's draft. That is considered a third-round pick, really kind of a fourth-round pick. The same pick that they acquired from the Kadarius Toney trade. In fact, it wasn't even our only third-round pick. We have a higher third-round pick, 89th overall, which makes it all the more better. Now, before we talk about how on field he's the perfect fit, let's talk about his contract first, just briefly. The contract is perfect for the Giants, although we are paying a decent price for a tight end, and a tight end who has been injury prone the last 2 years. This is a perfect contract to go into. Although we're paying a good price of $11 million this year, $10.5 next year, and it progressively gets a little slight bit higher throughout the years, there is no dead cap after this season. So if we needed to cut ties next season, we are able to do that with no penalty. All things being considered, we hope it works out, right? We don't want to get to that point, but there is no risk to this whatsoever. And the Giants gave up one of their 2 third-round picks, and it was the higher one. It was the lower one. I don't even know to say it's a lower because it's the higher number, but higher, I don't know. It's the lesser third-round pick.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, I had to talk to a Raiders fan about this. I wanted to get their best opinion on, because they've been watching Darren Waller for a while. So I wanted to get a Raiders fan opinion. I went to the Football Scout. He's a friend of mine, so make sure you guys check his channel. His link will be in the description below. And this is what he had to say about him. He said, Darren Waller is a mismatch nightmare. He's a former wide receiver in college. Therefore, he's a really good tight end in space. He's tall and ran a 4.46 40. Almost no cornerback or safety can cover his size, and almost no linebacker can match his height. His run blocking is average, but you do have to keep in mind, for the longest time, he was on the Ravens practice squad, so he doesn't have a lot of usage on his body. He also doesn't have a lot of experience at tight end, so he will get better. And he made a little side note saying he also makes music. If you didn't know, he goes by D Wall on YouTube. I know as nice as it is, that's very nice and all, but we don't even want to talk about artists that are football players. Listen, we already have bad experiences with that, so we got trust issues.
You can get hit, bitch. And yeah,
cut the shit off, bro.
I gotta
Cut the shit the fuck off.
What is it?
Bro, what is he doing?
But much appreciated from the Football Scout. Make sure you guys check out his content. Link will be in the description below. You guys have probably seen a film or review or two. He is killing the game with the film reviews for the NFL. Make sure you guys check him out. So let's talk about on the field, and that was very insightful. Honestly, I didn't even know Darren Waller was a former wide receiver. He came onto the scene out of nowhere in 2019, and I always wondered where the hell this guy came from. Never really looked into Darren Waller and his background. He is a former wide receiver from Georgia Tech, and he converted to tight end in 2019, and that is the year at 27 years old that he just went off. So you look back when he was drafted in the 6th round by Baltimore. I didn't even know that either, but he was drafted by Baltimore as a wide receiver in 2015, okay? And he was already 23 years old, a little bit on slightly older for a draft pick coming out, and he converted to tight end and just completely went off. So yeah, he doesn't have a lot of usage on his body. Tight end is new to him, and he's only played 4 seasons as a tight end. So let's look at what he provides on the field for the New York Giants. One thing that jumps out at me is his mix of size and speed. You can tell he was a former wide receiver. Now, he's not the cleanest route runner by any means because he is a tight end now. I'm sure he's gained weight to get to that bigger tight end sort of build, but he has quick feet. He's good on his releases. He knows different releases. He knows like diamond releases, split releases. He knows all about that stuff. You can see how quick and nimble his feet are when making cuts, and his downfield speed is as well is great. He lines up everywhere. In line, he lines up winged out, he lines up in the slot, he lines up outside. He can do any route you really need him to do. Again, downfield, he really has a knack of fitting in space in zone. When he's on those seam routes and he's able to adjust the seam to try to get some space away from the safety, try to get in between the corner and the safety, he does a really good job at doing that. And he always has a good straight line to the end zone. He's always finding himself in the end zone somehow. Sometimes Derek Carr hits him, sometimes he doesn't, but he always finds himself there, and the opportunity to make a play is what you need consistently. Now, I know one thing that may concern people, and something that doesn't concern me at all, is his run blocking ability, his pass blocking and run blocking ability. Football Scout mentioned that his run blocking is average, and to me, I also seen that on film. His run blocking is pretty average, but it doesn't bother me at all. At least he blocks at all. At least he's somewhat decent at it, but we don't even need that out of him. You could see with the Raiders that he was, a lot of the times, he was split out. Even in 13 personnel, he was split out in the slot or even out wide, and they had two tight ends in the box. So they were able to work it out with Darren Waller then. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to work out with Darren Waller now because of the fact that we have Daniel Bellinger. I think Daniel Bellinger is that X factor, is that wild card that makes this trade come together so perfectly. You guys know that Daniel Bellinger last year was the starter. He was already on the up and up, rising, and I didn't have any problem with him coming into this season as the starter, but we traded for Darren Waller, which makes things better. You even had Travis Kelce saying that Daniel Bellinger is one of the up-and-coming tight ends in the NFL, so I have no doubt in Bellinger at all. And honestly, if you ask me, the reason why I love the whole Darren Waller and Bellinger combo is that besides Andrew Thomas, Daniel Bellinger was the best blocker on the team as a tight end. I'm completely serious about that too. If you watch Daniel Bellinger blocking, I mean, it's fantastic to watch. So I have no worries about having a tight end that can block because we already have that. Daniel Bellinger would fit in just fine there, and we could put Darren Waller in the slot. We could put Darren Waller out wide, and he is going to command the defense's best defenders. I only watched a couple of games of Darren Waller, and you could already see that he's commanding the attention of Adoree Jackson against the Giants, Marlon Humphrey against the Ravens. He's commanding the team's best safeties, linebackers. It's never a guy that they just stick on Darren Waller. He's always commanding the team's best coverage guy. He opens up a world of possibilities for this offense, and that's why he's the perfect weapon for it. Being able to line him up anywhere on the field really takes away and diminishes the problem that we have of missing a true number one wide receiver. It's the same thing while Kyle Pitts is such a threat. I know they don't use him as much, but he is such a threat over there because they don't really have a number one guy, but Kyle Pitts acts as if he is because he plays like a receiver. Same thing with Darren Waller is he's just a bigger guy. And it also allows you to run more plays out of 12 personnel or even 13. The Giants ran the majority of their plays, overwhelming majority of their plays in 11 personnel, and they were able to run the ball just fine there. But it allows you to open up your playbook and use that 12 personnel and be able to pass out of the 12 personnel more so than you would in the past because of the threat of Darren Waller. And Daniel Bellinger is no slouch either. He can catch the ball. Just imagine a rollout. Oh my goodness. Imagine a play action rollout to the right and you have Darren Waller on the over and Daniel Bellinger on the flat following Daniel Jones. Oh my goodness. It's going to be unstoppable. And another thing, I mentioned Darren Waller is great at the seams, and that is, I can't stress that point enough. If you watch him when he's running a seam route, he's not just running in a straight line. He always finds a way to get through the zone, to slash through the zone and create a lane for him to catch the ball and keep running afterwards. Whether it's to the end zone or just a big chunk yardage play, he'll even angle himself away from the safety to make sure he has a good run after the catch ability. And that's something that we need on this team. We need bigger plays down the middle of the field, and Darren Waller just provides that. You guys know in Eli Manning's glory days, what was Eli Manning's one of his best throws? It was the seam route to the tight end. I mean, that's what made Larry Donnell actually good. Like, that's what made Larry Donnell a starter in the league, is because of Eli Manning and the seam route he throws. I want to see the same thing with Daniel Jones. I want to see him be able to make those tight throws to a big body tight end. So that's all I got for you guys today. Make sure you guys leave your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you guys think of the video? What do you guys think of Darren Waller? That's all I got. I'm KB, and I'll see you guys in the next video.